This is Urdizzle back from an extended break with episode 7 of chapter 2 of my Zero to Hero series. And in chapter 6, I ventured into the play with friends and had a pretty successful run that evening. So I decided to dive into the multiplayer to see how I could stack up. As you can see from my rated rounds, I did finish that one pro tour in rec, but no multiplayer round. So this will be my first attempt to jump out there and see how this bag competes in multiplayer games against good players in challenging layouts. So we'll see how it goes. Before that, I decided to play the daily tournament for this particular day. As mentioned before, I'm probably not going to get too many good discs from these until I start leveling up, so it's kind of essential that I start doing that at a regular clip to at least get up in the teens, possibly even 21 before I can start getting the good ballistas. And so hole 1 here, and I did not grind for this. This is just straight out. Hole 1 there, the cliff hopper should be an eagle if I really decided to go for it, but no need to do that. Again, we're just trying to get elite status and get some coins and some experience. So got a great skip out of that, landed in prime real estate here, 121 feet. And I paused this right here because you may notice something that I didn't notice when I was playing, that I usually throw a forehand fuse here, and for whatever reason, I threw backhand. And I'm lucky that didn't go out of bounds. And so what I did, just to show that I was where I wanted to, I switched to forehand, kept the exact same aim spot, and it goes in. I mean, what do you do? That lets me know I had the right idea. I think we've all done it before where I forgot to flip it from backhand to forehand. And again, luckily I stayed in bounds. But again, for the grind, if you're a top player, you're probably getting eagle on 2 of those 3 holes. Possibly getting the eagle on all 3, but so we switch over to Keho, and that hole right there. So this is Keho hole 8. That's right there is a reason why I probably still have an explorer in the bag. I mean, it's so good for that. Now this hole for me is kind of tricky because right here. So I thought for sure I'm in the sand trap. I'm in the sand trap. I'm in the sand trap. And for whatever reason, I got lucky and just completely stopped. But I like normally throwing the recoil on that, and so for me using this account where I don't have a lot of those higher end discs, I have to come up with alternative ways to throw these holes, and so it kind of tests your knowledge, but a lot of times you're not going to have the disc that you need for it, and you just have to kind of adjust. So here, if you stop right here, this is my regular ballista. I thought I'm probably going right in the sand trap. And so it goes right there, and then slow-mo, I'm like, sweet, right here. I thought for sure I was going to stay out of it, and then for whatever reason, it caught an edge and rolled back down in there. And that's one of those where it went from sand trap to not to in, and it's annoying, but like I said, with the other stuff, we've all been there. And for the last 3, we switched over to Grizzly, and this hole right here, hole 3, is kind of tricky. That is a phenomenal shot with that disc. Usually I will throw a skip disc, and of course I chain it out because that's just how that works. But that is a hard hole to get up there on the ledge or a little higher up the hill if you don't have the right discs. I mean, a good light skip or glide skip ballista or ballista pro will get you up there, but the fact that I have a no attribute ballista, and it still did a reasonable job of getting up there, I honestly should have made that. And then this one was just an absolutely awful shot. I don't know what other way to say it. Normally I would take the wide right route, but I decided to get a little frisky. And at this point, I'm just thinking it's going to go out of bounds. But luckily, it actually stopped in the middle and gave me a clean shot from 173. So if anybody's watched my videos, you know I can give this a pretty reasonable run with the forehand fuse and miracle save. Like, I did not deserve that after that drive. So left a few strokes out there, but was able to get all birdies and 1 eagle. So 23, and we'll check out. Remember, my goal is just to get elite status so I can get the coins and the experience, and not even close. So I'm 2 strokes off. I'm not going to grind for that. It's an extra 200 coins, but I still got the experience. So I will probably let that sit. And I did level up, but as you see, in these lower levels, you're not going to get the good discs. So I will probably go, I don't even know, they all suck. I'll probably go with the Skip Explorer, and maybe we'll use it at some point. All right, so now we're going to transition over into multiplayer. And again, this is my first foray into multiplayer games with this bag. And so I haven't really used a ton of the discs in here. So I'm still, even though you guys see these videos, I'm still kind of getting used to them. And before we get started, I thought I'd give you a quick preview here of what's in the bag. So we've got the Accurate Windbreak Fuse, the Accurate Glide River. I don't have the Windbreak yet. The Accurate Windbreak Explorer, the Accurate Glide Pioneer, and then a few Ballistas and Ballista Pros. So interestingly enough, and I don't remember when I did this, I had the Pioneer, so I threw that there. I don't remember taking my Accurate Windbreak Musket out of the bag. And what's interesting when I'm playing these multiplayer games, so here I'm kind of deciding what to throw, and I decided to try to putt that, and that was not a smart shot. I probably should have just thrown it in. But I don't remember taking it out, and I don't think I noticed when I was playing. I think there I would normally throw the musket, but I think I just threw the Pioneer, and I wasn't really thinking about what I was doing. All right, so here we just played this in the daily. Now, right here, I thought I was in pretty good shape. I think it's going to hit the ground, maybe hit that little right ledge, and kind of skip around and give me that 120, 130-foot shot. And so I'm feeling pretty good right here, and then this happens. That's one of those where I thought I had a good shot, and it turned into garbage. So here I'm actually trying to make that. That was actually a pretty close shot from down there, but I ended up having to take the par. So that's two mistakes already. So that was the crow's nest hole where I didn't get the eagle, and then that one was just bad luck. So we shift over to Oak Hill. And Oak Hill is going to be a little challenging. That was a pretty good shot with my Ballista Pro. But there are some holes on Oak Hill where not having that glide skip Ballista Pro kind of makes a big difference. So here I'm not trying to make the island. I don't have the light glides. And I put it within 157, which I feel pretty good that I can do a throw-in on this one. And right about here, I thought there was a chance, and it just... So that's 4 strokes I've given away now. But this is the difference when you play multiplayer. Like, I very easily could have gotten an eagle on the first one. So here's a good example, sorry. I could get within a reasonable range right there, but the Ballista Pro, the glide skip, will get you much, much, much further. And so I was able to hit that one, but yeah, I just making those tiny mistakes, 1, 2, 3 strokes. There's just not enough to make up. So I think right about here, I realized maybe that I didn't have the Accurate Windbreak Musket, which I would have thrown on that, and just not being as experienced. And I still got the birdie, but not being experienced with the Pioneer as much. I kind of put too much turn on that one. And that one's just perfect. Oh, I thought I'd actually get the little better kick than that one. But that's 79 feet's pretty good. But if you have not gotten the Ballista Pro, like, this is why you need to get 3 stars on all the Challenge of Valley courses, because you can get a lot of good discs. And that was just absolute trash. Ugh. We could probably lay up and get birdie, but I'm going to try to get aggressive here. And that did not work. Oh, boy. We're going to be struggling for par. Get out. Yeah, that should do it. That was not a good hole. So that's probably 5 strokes worse than I should have been. So still shot a 10 under, which somehow magically got me a 950. I don't know how. That's funny. If I gave away 5 strokes, that's an 1100 layout, which I thought was pretty easy for an 1100 layout. And in the end, I did lose by 1 stroke there, which, again, easily could have done better than that, but it is what it is. So overall, okay start. Not happy with that, but not awful. And so I realized I did not have my musket. So that's the first thing I do, is I change that bad boy out. And the Pioneer wasn't bad. I don't think it really cost me any strokes, but it definitely is not what I'm comfortable with. All right, so we shift to round 2 here, and that's a great shot with that Ballista Pro. It's really hard to kind of get that one. Jeez. Why did I do that? Perfect drive, easy shot, and that one wasn't even close. That wasn't even like I left it short. That was just high and right, but sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. All right, so we're going to hopefully finish off, and I don't have any skip discs here, so I'm not really going to ace run this bad boy. Just throw that up there. Yeah, that whole one kind of lingers a little bit. I don't mind missing those, but man, when you miss that bad, that's just really frustrating. And here, I think we're just going to throw the fuse, get it up there, easy shot. So I don't feel like I have the discs. Like that one, I probably could have thrown my musket, but I just don't have the discs I feel comfortable running everything with. Now here, I feel like I can give this one a reasonable run. And right about here, I thought there was a really, really, really good chance that it might go in, but it just clips to the right. Luckily, it didn't skip long in OB. Otherwise, I would have been really annoyed. But if that would have skipped OB going with hole one messing up, that might have put me on tilt a little bit. And then again, right here, I thought there's a really good chance it's going in, it's lining up, and I'm like, that's going in. And then of course, barely goes underneath it. Like I don't know how it was that close, but so that's two near misses. I just not sure what to say about this round. All right, hole 7, I don't really have. I might throw a recoil on that and that win, but luckily that's not a good one either. Now, this tree right here has a pretty wide collision. So you really, if possible, the little tree, the dead tree to the right, you got to straddle out and just make sure you're nowhere close to it. All right, so last time I was on this hole right here. It was almost the same line, and I thought it was good, and it skipped and went OB, and I ended up with a 4. And right here, I'm thinking it might do it again. But, and see, that's just the fluky nature of this. But now it puts me kind of a little on the wrong side of the mountain there, so it's a little hard to run that one. Yeah, that just wasn't good. And now I'm actually behind the tree, so I've got to worry about my putt. I'll say that was all right. But that's the thing. I thought those two drives were pretty close to the same, and one skipped OB, and that one did not. All right, I really don't know what to throw in this hole because I would normally throw an accurate windbreak river forehand. And so I threw the accurate glide on that one, and it actually worked out pretty well. But if that doesn't hit that rock, that very easily could skip long and possibly behind trees. But so that ended up being a pretty solid round. Definitely would have wanted hole 1 back, which would have given me a little boost and maybe one of those aces. But overall, 1,000 rated with this bag. I'm not too upset with that, and I did end up taking it down. Looks like nobody finished the round. I think everybody quit. All right, let's do, I think we're gonna go one more multiplayer. We'll see how this goes. So hole 1, we're at crow's nest for these first 3, and again, you notice I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not running all these. I just want to see what I can do to play kind of solid disc golf. All right, so here now I don't have to worry about the Pioneer. I've got my musket, which the one thing I've noticed about windbreak discs is they tend to grab the ground a little more than glide. If you don't believe me, go take an accurate windbreak musket and an accurate glide musket out and just test them, field test them, and you'll just see that the glide, that's really good. The glide just tends to give a little more skip. At least I noticed that on that crow's nest par 4. All right, very tricky hole here because we've got Owlwood and a right to left of 3. So right here, I'm looking at this, and I just don't see a good option. I mean, you can try to play it through that slight left gap there, but this is where I've kind of evolved in my play where I get a little smarter. I'm not going to try to punch it through those trees. I'm going to play it wide right, get it down here, and get myself within 100, and that's perfect. And so now if you look here, instead of fighting OB or possibly struggling for a 4, I've now got an 82-foot shot uphill with a wind of 3, which is not easy for birdie. And I was able to hit that. So with that lineup and that wind to get a birdie out of that, I was really happy with that. And it looks like we've got a guy that also got the eagle, so he's staying with me there. All right, hole 5, this is pretty much a gimme birdie. I can't think of a wind that would really give me problems on that one. Maybe if I try to ace run it. Oh, it looks like that guy did get a par there. All right, this one I've actually tweaked a little bit. Recently, I actually have a line that I take through the left woods, but again, this is with that wind, I'm not really too worried about that. Throwing the musket, just get me within about 70, 80, and I can usually hit that. All right, so we're cruising here. Again, normally I like seeing Oak Hill, but not having the big drivers with the skip and all that stuff, I'm a little worried about the par 4s. And I hate being behind that bush. That has gotten me so many times. Like this. This is going to be a tricky hole, I think. So I'm actually going to go with the Ballista here, Ballista Pro, I mean, and hopefully it skips up. Yeah. Oh, that is a really bad roll. But that's the problem is it's nice to have a skip disc to get up there, and let's see if we can make this one. That is probably going to be left. Yep. I like the slow-mo just because it's got a chance. But yeah, I can get it up there on the top of the hill with the Ballista Pro. It's just, you have to be perfect if you're not going to use a skip disc. All right, this one I'm actually okay with. So we're going to throw the Wind Ballista, and that's going to be perfect. I'll be within 60, 70. Oh, that's putting range. Sweet. Yep, anything inside 65 is putting for me, and I love it. All right, pretty solid. And that 1054 is the highest rated round I've had so far. So we'll check out. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's going to catch me on that. So we'll just kind of check out some of the payouts, how I did. So 10 under, so that one, so those other two guys did finish, but was able to take first on one of those. We know that one right there. So I did lose by one on that one, took second, which is not paying out yet. But overall, not bad. Had a couple thousand rated rounds, much better than my Pro Tour showings, and overall decent. I think we still figured out that I am a little lacking in some of the discs. But I think we are ready to tackle the Pro Tour. And remember, I got the ratings bump, so I'm now in Pro, so I'm not in Rec anymore. I think we're to the point where I want to see how I can compete against the big boys and see if I can actually do reasonably well. So I'll see you next in episode 8, Pro Tour Pro.